I saw an interesting topic come up. It was called corporate Ozempic. And I thought that was really, really interesting because I guess I never thought about it this way. But now that I'm taking a look at it, I can kind of see where someone might go with this. So, this is a review of an article that was recently published by Scott Galloway back in February. And I just want to talk through it. The whole article is about how AI is reshaping business. So he starts with picture it as the other massive innovation of our time. GLP-1 drugs both shed weight by suppressing cravings, both exacerbate existing inequities, aka the rich get richer, before generating wider prosperity. And both are having a greater impact than projected as early adopters are hesitant to admit they're using. So nobody I know is on Ozempic, yet nearly everyone I know is on Ozempic. Either that or gluten free diets are suddenly delivering exponential results previously unheard of. People are hesitant to acknowledge they need a drug to lose that last 15 pounds, which doesn't fit with the narrative that success is correlated to self control. One of the most interesting and discouraging features of GLP 1 use is that the region with the greatest per capita prescriptions is also, wait for it, the thinnest people. This makes no sense, but yet it does. The Upper East Side of Manhattan is replete with people who can spend $1,000 a month to go from slim to skinny. In some, GLP 1 drugs are not yet getting to the communities who really need them. I believe this will eventually happen, however, because of the public health and economic benefits are just that staggering. Okay, let's stop there for a minute. I agree. I can tell you firsthand that Ozempic has been crazy and AI has been crazy. So I think this comparison is going to be a good comparison. Let's continue. So he goes on to talk about now corporate Ozempic. So now that he's set the stage with Ozempic, here we go. Similarly, my thesis is that firms, notably tech firms, who have discovered a weight loss drug are also being coy about it. Recent financial news features two stories: layoffs and record profits. These are related. There is no mystery to the surface narrative. A company lays off 5%, 10%, or in one case, even 25% of its workforce, and 6 to 12 months later, after severance pay and expenses are flushed through the P&L, its operating margin hits new heights. The ultimate peanut butter and chocolate shareholder confection is Meta, which produced a singular Hall of Fame quarter in Q4. So this is really interesting. So they give some numbers here for a few different companies, and they talk about Accenture, who cut 2.5% of their headcount and had a 1% increase in net income. Or BlackRock cut 3% and had a 6% increase in income. Cisco cut 5% and had a 16% increase. Google cut 6% and had a 23% increase. Get this. Meta cut 13% and had a 73% increase. PayPal did a little smarter. They only cut 9% and had a 76% increase. Get these next two. T-Mobile reduced their headcount by 7% and saw a 221% increase. And IBM only cut 1.5% and saw a 358% increase in net income. This is where it gets really interesting. And these are all based on public company filings. So, all told, if you put together the numbers and crunch it, tech companies literally fired 165,000 people in 2022, 260,000 in 2023, and are on pace for 270,000 in 2024. The media narrative is that these firms are shedding excess weight they put on during the pandemic. The collision of remote work, I've been saying this for a while, stimulus, and social isolation triggered a historic revenue acceleration and a reflexive hiring binge in tech. And now we're seeing course correction. This phenomenon is undeniable. Between 2019 and 2022, Amazon doubled the number of people who work there. It tripled its corporate headcount in 5 years. Amazon's pandemic hiring may be the greatest non-war scaling of a private employee base in history. But every major tech player bulked up. Even prudent Apple grew by 20%. Overdone pandemic hiring was a reasonable explanation for tech layoffs in 2022, but now, 18 months later, there's been sufficient time to reduce the headcount. There's no incentive for a company to slow roll this process. A drip feed of layoffs drains company morale. There's something else going on. Oh boy, this article for me is a breath of fresh air. It sounds like it's going exactly where I want it to go. So before I go too far, let me keep going and see where he takes us. Business results also don't explain in deeper cuts. These companies are killing it. Meta's revenue is up 16% in 2023. Alphabet, which is Google, is 9%. Microsoft's most recent quarter registered 72% greater revenue than a like quarter in 2020, which until then was its highest grossing quarter to date. Accordingly, big tech stock prices are at all-time highs, and the Magnificent Seven were responsible 70% of the S&P's Macho Libre year, up 24%. Based on the numbers, the pandemic hiring binge wasn't a mistake, but the correct response to a step change in business. They needed these people until they didn't need them. The layoffs are no longer a signal of economic conditions, but of innovation. Here we go. It's not just tech. While the broader economy is enjoying steady job growth and low unemployment, the longest period of sub 4% unemployment in 50 years, many firms have let large numbers of employees go. UPS, CVS, Hasbro are among companies that are announcing layoffs of 1,000 people in the past 6 months. What's really going on? Here's the player. I believe AI is playing a larger role in layoffs than CEOs are willing to admit. There have been hints. IBM's chief said the company plans to pause hiring for positions that could be replaced by AI. UPS acknowledged that AI factored into its recent layoffs. But as a general rule, expect the CEO to be reluctant to state on an earnings call that the fastest growing technology in history is already giving her the ability to lay off people without any impact on the top line. That creates a messaging maze that no investor relations or corporate comms group has ever faced before. Shortly after UPS's CEO mentioned AI in context of layoffs, a spokesperson clarified that AI is not replacing workers. A similar post-earnings call two-step occurred at IBM. It's rare that growth and the size of your employee base are inversely correlated, and it doesn't make for a good all-hands narrative. We had a good record quarter, so we're going to need a few. So because of that, we're going to need fewer of you. Oh, it's the denials that first raised my antenna. We're not restructuring because AI is taking away roles, Alphabet's chief business officer Philip Schindler told analysts on the company's most recent earnings call. That's the I gave up gluten of tech. Okay, let's pause here. I see where this is going, right? And here is my thought. Now, I want you to really sit back and think about this because in January, I talked about this. If you want to go listen, I had the YouTube video out there in January talking about finding or getting a better skilled job in 2024. Because I predicted then, even before then, I predicted that this was going to happen, that companies were going to start laying off people left and right. And it wasn't, the example I used in my video was Capital One, where I talked about from an Agile perspective, they decided to get rid of all the Scrum Masters, but then they replaced many of them with Agile project managers. And people were asking, what's the difference? And the difference was AI. The people who knew AI and the people who understood AI and the people who could leverage AI as a tool to help do their job better, who didn't just stick to a set of rules regarding their responsibilities, we're going to go there in a second, are the ones who are going to survive this pandemic freakish thing that's going on. It's no surprise that as the world evolves and as AI takes a stronghold, that jobs are going to have to evolve too. The people who don't take the time to learn AI and reinvent their skill set are going to be left by the side looking in on the people who did. So the question is, the comparison to Ozempic, companies are able to do more with fewer people. However, it doesn't mean that they wouldn't be willing to do more with the same number of people. I'm going to say it again. Companies are able to do more with fewer people using AI, but it doesn't mean that companies aren't willing to do more with the same number of people leveraging AI. Meaning, if we can further enhance the capabilities of a product or service, if we can bring it to market faster with higher quality, if we can leverage AI to do part of our job so that we can do more when it comes to the inception part of a project, when it comes to initiation and discovery, that would allow organizations to create more new and innovative products and services. So what I'm saying is, I think we're on the brink of a renaissance of a whole bunch of new products and services that we never knew we needed. That's what it boils down to. Now, where you sit on the field If you're on that downhill slide and you're comfortably just coasting through, knowing that in the next 5 years you're going to retire, this probably won't impact you at all. But if you're sitting here listening to this podcast and you're in high school, college, or just started your career, you need to listen and listen now. You need to go learn AI, period. You need to take a class. You need to go and talk to someone. You need to do whatever you can to get a hold of this. Because just like Ozempic, where everyone's craving to be thinner and reduce their cravings for food, organizations are doing the same thing. These drugs hold tremendous promise, but companies want to be able to expand what they're doing with less. They want to do more with less. They want to stop starting new things and start finishing the things they've started. They want to put more things in the hopper. And it doesn't matter whether we're talking about Amazon, Netflix, it doesn't matter who we're talking about, SpaceX, Tesla. Company by company, we're starting to see the impact. So the question is, how will AI affect you? Here's my thought. And this, by the way, is the way that he finishes this article, or he wraps up the article. He has more after this, but this is the key. The AI revolution will not take everyone's job away. The AI revolution will inspire a golden age of startups with lower infant mortality, as there will be fewer people and less risk required to get to sustainability. Therefore, there will be new products and ideas and services that we've never dreamt of before. That's what this is all about. So we need to get in on this and get excited about it, or else we're going to be left by the wayside. That's going to do it. And I want to say thank you. This was an awesome article, Scott. So I will put a link to it here in the description. If you have a topic you want us to discuss, learn more at AgileDad.com. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.